Okay, well this is a VTM of, well it's going to be a bunch of animations, but right now it's just going to be setting up bones, really, on the weapon. These are going to be for V models here if you're using the Half-Life engine. Otherwise, if you're not, this is first-person stuff. Well, let's see. This right here is the rig that I'm going to be using. You know, I don't know why I pulled it out right now, because I shouldn't be using it. But thought I'd show you that it's an IK rig, very fancy. By fancy I mean crap, and it's easy to set up, and maybe I'll make a VTM one day for that. But not right now. So this is what we're going to be dealing with, and as you can tell, the smoothing is jacked in the face, and I'm going to fix that right now, because I hate it when things don't go my way when I'm doing this. Well, you know what? Well, yeah, that's good enough. Let's do this. Alright, a little background, fancy background information that's not pertinent at all to what's going to be happening. I spent a total of $7 on a fancy new little voice headset. God knows why. Somebody had asked me to do this a long time ago, and being the very prudent person that I am, I waited a couple of months to do it, and I actually went out and bought a new thing to do it with. So I'm hoping this doesn't totally go to waste. Somebody better find some use for these things, because I know that there's a lot of stuff that I'd rather be doing right now. Well, that's a lie. Okay, why don't we save this? I like to save these things as reffing. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be selecting all these editable meshes, and we're going to be breaking them up and detaching. We're going to be attaching vertices and faces and all those dandy things to make the bones for the actual weapon that's going to be moving during the animation. So if you take a look at these, and I haven't looked at these prior to doing this, and I probably should have, you know, you can tell a few things that you need. You're going to need a magazine, a trigger, a bolt right here. Oh my god, this modeler's... You know, you'll rarely encounter this, but sometimes, maybe because of the grace in their heart, modelers just love to be helpful. So helpful that they actually break things up in a position that would be useful to someone like you or I. What we're going to be doing, you select which editable mesh you want to edit. Go down to vertices right here. You see this? Click on that vertex. There you go. You're right on fire. You're ready to move. Select the vertices of this. Obviously you can tell, maybe you can't. It's a magazine, or a clip, for those of you who are like me. And my roommate's across the room from me right now. Do you know how odd it is to do a VTM with a roommate who's standing in the room with you? You don't. Alright. And once you've got everything selected that you want, for example, as you can see here, and you might want to just move it a bit just to make sure you've got everything you need. That right there, I see I've selected the magazine release here with it, and that's not good. We're going to deselect that by double-clicking on each individual vertice. I'm sure there's a faster way to do it, and I'm too lazy to learn it, and that's why I'm not going to do it. There, we've got the magazine there. Now what you're going to need to do is scroll down here on this, select detach, and whatever you name this is going to be your bone. Basically, if you name this magazine, here's what you should be doing. Oh, I got an idea. Let's make the realism people mad. It's a clip. Alright, and then basically what you've got right now, look at this now. That is your own editable mesh. As you can see right here. There, you've got it. That's the magazine bone. And you can see the bone is actually over here. And we'll begin to fix that crap later. But right now, let's just keep detaching everything we need to detach. Now, right there's the magazine release. Really, it is. Remember, you go down to detach, which I just passed, and instead of calling it mag release, I'm going to call it clip button. That'll really get them mad. Alright, you've got those. Now check this out. Over here is obviously the trigger. It's a goofy shape, but this weapon here, I think it's a concept weapon. I was told it's not real. The guy made it up. That's good. Sounds good to me. Well, if you don't know what I'm doing here, if you hold down the Alt button, and then if you've got a middle mouse button and drag it around, you can zoom around things. It's really, really helpful. And if you don't have either of those things, you go down this little yellow thing here, and then you can move it that way. But being the encouraging and sterling teacher that I am, I'd encourage you to use Alt. Alright, now let's just try this trigger. But instead of trigger, we're going to call it the kill switch. We're going to make this gun and every single animation and beneath it as believable as Dan Rather. Alright, let's get this bolt. See, the bolt is the thing that goes back this way. I don't know. Is that what it does? It does. When you shoot the weapon, the shells eject from the bolt. Or something like that. We're not going to call it the bolt. We're going to call it the cover. Okay. Now, let's use our brains here for just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, folks, what else could we possibly bone in this thing? We've got the trigger. We've got the magazine. We've got the trigger. We've got the magazine release. You know what? I don't even think that's a magazine release. I can't see this. Hold on now. What is that? I thought it was a mag release. What the crap is that? It's nothing. Okay. It's absolutely nothing. It's a nothing. That's what it is. It's seems to be ruining some of that stuff there. I've got a better idea. Let me show you how to fix this. For example, I've just detached something that didn't need to be detached. Due to no fault of my own. Right. We're going to put this back on. All you got to do is select the editable mesh that you want to attach it to. Go down to the attach button. It couldn't get any simpler than this. Those of you in California schools should also be able to follow this. Click attach. Click what you want. There you are. And by the grace of God, it is done. Now this, and I hadn't thought about this before, but I had assumed that there weren't going to be goofy bipeds on this thing. But there are. So I'm not sure if I should bone them and make them jiggle around when you do things, or if I should just delete them off. They're going to be a nuisance. Oops. Okay, well, let's just delete them off. Sure, the guy won't mind. If he does, too bad. If you hold on Control when you're selecting stuff, it'll select more stuff for you. Control C, of course, is undo. That's looking good. Yeah, it helps to break stuff away there when you're halfway doing it. It's always nice to be right. Alright, now the bipeds, we can easily select, delete. Select and delete. Of course, I feel sorry for the people who skinned and unwrapped and did all the fancy modeling for that, but what are you going to do other than laugh? Save periodically if you've got a computer like mine, which really likes to get under your skin by kicking you in the face whenever you think you've got it in control. Now, we've got here all the neat little textures we're going to apply to this thing. You know, I'm trying to think if I should apply the textures or if I should adjust the pivots of the bones first. Why don't I do the textures? I'm going to show you how to use a material editor in the least efficient way. Okay, now if you hit M is the button I'm hitting here. M. It'll bring this up right here. This is your material editor, and it's a fancy word for textures. Those of us who are not academically, computerly inclined use that word a lot. Each one of these, as you can imagine, I hope you can imagine, is this different texture if you use it that way. But what we're going to do, this is more Half-Life engine only oriented. You need to assign these with a multi-sub-object thing. So what you need to do, select your first little ball, click on this neat little button here that says Standard, click on Multi-Sub-Object, discard old material, and there you've got it. Now you can see down here, You can assign a bunch of these, at the same time, but I don't do it that way because I just don't. Which means I do it the wrong way, and I'm going to be teaching you to do it the wrong way too. If anything, you should be happy that it's something different, although wrong. After you've got that selected, you click on Diffuse. You come up here to Bitmap. You come over here and you've got all these neat little textures that you're going to be using. For example, this one is saying mag. Now, if you can just imagine for a moment where this would go, I'll let you think about it. But we're going to start with body. Hit open. As you can see, it's right up there. You're going to come over here, body, and I'm looking at it right now. It says body. As you can see here, see the body. Click it. You've got this selected. You might want to click this button here. It's real helpful. Show map and viewport. Click that. Assign material. And there you've got it. Now if we look at perspective mode, we can see the cute, neat little texture assigned to the map there. The model. Oh, the mesh. Oh, I'm sorry, the mesh. For those of you who are computer politically correct. Now what we should be doing is coming up here and using these tools to do this again, but we're not going to. We're just going to do the same thing over again. If nothing less, it should impound it in your mind of the way that you're not supposed to do it. And again, that's always the best way. Foregrip. Now we're going to come over here to the foregrip. We're going to select it. We're going to select this, and we're going to assign it. It's always useful to make sure anyway. I mean, you can all have fancy names on here. Something might be called foregrip when in the actual texture it's called Mexican. So you got to check. As you can see there, it looks like it's going on pretty nicely. It looks like we haven't bunged anything up yet. Let's do the next one. Some doggy. I can't believe it. I'm actually making a VTM. Front. What could possibly be called front in this scene? I can't find it. Ah, the front. Seems to be at the front of the weapon. There you are. Looks like it's going up nice. Oh boy. As you can tell, this excitement is just riveting, and as you can tell, I mean, you know that there's nothing quite as fun as this. Why don't we do scope? Oh, the excitement, just the selection of these items is just downright, oh, it's wonderful. It should be illegal. Alright, we've got a few things left. The trigger here, the magazine, and the bolt. Okay. Now, as you can tell here, I wanted to do this. There's nothing that's going to just say bolt. Now, if you recall, we detached these when they were part of what body group? Does anyone remember? Pop quiz time. Put on the thinking hats. We can do this together, you and I. We can succeed. We can go beyond the hurdles we're struggling over now. Let's take a guess. Is that it? Oh my, could it be? Wow. How about that? Let's try the bolt. Is that what you want? It is. Good job, everyone. What's funny is that piece we attached wasn't supposed to go into that group, but that's okay. No one will notice. Most importantly, no one will care. Alright, so the materials are assigned. That part's good to go. I'm trying to think of what to do next. Your gun is almost completed here. Oh, for future's sake, L will give you the left viewport, P will give you perspective, user is you. God only knows where that went. There's F for front. If anyone can guess the letter for top, you win a prize. Oh boy. Alright, now check this out. This is very important. This is perhaps the most important thing until the next most important thing that you are taught by me, if you can even call it teaching, is taught to you. Right here. Now, when you've selected this magazine, as I said before, it's the This is the actual bone that's going to be moving when you animate this stupid thing. When it comes out, it goes up, it goes in, it goes out, it goes wherever it goes. This right here, you see this, where this crosses here? Perpendicular, I think that's the word I'm looking for here. That is the bone, or the pivot, if you're max inclined. To get to this area where you can edit the pivot, you're going to want to go up to hierarchy chain. This is going to be your friend later on, big time. You're going to go to effect pivot only. As you can see here, we can edit this pivot, and if we turn off effect pivot only, it's edited where the actual pivot to the object is. So, for magazines and the like, you can really just get along with centered object. That's fine, no one will kill you, but for fun's sake, move it up a bit. Maybe I should also, probably should have done this. Why don't we make a bone for this? Won't that be fun? Just downright exciting. Making a bone for the bullet. It's little things like that that when you do it, it's like going the extra mile or something. Some people like it. Some people don't even notice it. But let's do it anyway. As you can see here, this is the bullet case in the magazine. It's a little difficult to see. In fact, you know what? I don't even think that's a model-on bullet. And sometimes you'll get lucky. And there's an actual bullet in there that the modeler took the time to do, but I'm not sure if this is. No, it's not. It's like a little ghetto half bullet. It's not even centered in. Okay, scratch that plan. Now we've got the magazine bone perfectly in the center. Almost in the center. Nothing can be too perfect with this. Now the trigger. Now, for example, when you pull the trigger, you don't have to come all the way over here, do you? And of course not. If it were a rotating trigger, and you can see here, this is more of a... God, I don't even know what this is. What is this? Like a push? A little push-in button trigger? Kill switch. You don't want it rotating over here. Because you can see, that's insane. So we're going to edit that pivot too. Center it. Since this is a neat little push thingy, I suppose it'll have to rotate. Now let's think about this now. If this is going to rotate, where you want it to rotate from? Somewhere up in this area? That's good enough. The bolt, obviously the bolt's not going to rotate, but we may as well center the bone. Now this next thing here, I guess there's a little silencer on this. How cute. We're going to attach all of these bodies into one bone, because if you don't, this is technically a bone right here, and we don't want that. So, remember that attach thing at the beginning here, if you've been eagerly following along. Right now, we've got the body selected. If I'm not mistaken, it is the body. The body. I find that sometimes attach list is helpful for these type of things. It gives you a list of everything in the scene and what you want to attach. So let's think about this now. We've got the scope that we don't need to move separately. The front we don't. The foregrip we don't. And that's about it. We can attach these to the body. Now this is important here. You don't want this, because that screws you in the face. And you don't like that. Maybe you do. Alright, now let's check this out. We've got a bone for the body, a bone for the magazine, a bone for the bolt, and a bone for the kill switch. Now, we can edit the bone for the actual body. Affect this pivot. You don't want to center this because you've got crap in here, and center's not good for this body bone of anything. What you're going to want to do is think ahead about what animations you want before you've gotten to this part of the process, and I haven't. I mean, I don't even know what the heck I'm going to animate yet. I'll think about it maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, whenever I have time, is most likely. For example, if you were going to, I don't know, pull a magazine out with the left hand, you may want the weight of the gun, because obviously if you're going to be rotating the gun here, it's not going to be easy to do if the point of pivot, if you're trying to simulate weight, is way over here, or even in the center. So, I guess until future reference, I'm just going to put this right here. That's going to be good enough for now. Alright. Now you've got the body bone of the gun. This is a bone. If you move it, these aren't attached. That's a good thing for now. Now the trigger in the magazine, the trigger and, what do I call the trigger for? The kill switch in the cover are going to have a parent bone that is this body bone of the gun. And to do this here, what you've got to do is come up here and select your little linking tool. It's a cute little boxes with a little chain link in there. Couldn't get more adorable for a $3,400 program no one buys. You've got to select this. The linking tool always goes child to parent. Select, hold it down. You can see the little lines in there. You want to drag it to the bone that you want to be the parent of these children. These poor orphan children now have a parent and a home. God bless them all. Perfect. The trigger is moving along with the gun, and it acts independent of itself too. How about that? Congratulations. Now the magazine. The magazine, well, this will come into play later. There are a few ways to do animations, and I'm going to try and do each and every single one of them, every different style I can think of, if not for my own fun, for the fun of you, who can choose which ones you like the best. But what I'm going to do here is, instead of using a link, I'm going to use a link constraint. It's a lot better, in my opinion, to be using for magazines and things that frequently come undone. What you're going to do is come over here to the Motion tab, assign controller, this top little thing here. I don't even know what it says. I never scrolled over here. Position, rotation, scale. Learn something new every day. A link constraints what you want. Hit OK. Nothing happened yet. Scroll down here. These are your links. Now, I'm going to, well, I guess I could explain slightly what this does. Click on Add Link. Click this parent bone here. Parent bone. It's called the body. Of course, that's what we've got. Now, what this thing is here, this, oh God, how am I going to, this, in a way, lets you change parent bones. It lets you alternate between them. So, for example, if on frame 11 I wanted the link to this bone to be the trigger of the kill switch, you can see it there. It says 11. I'm trying to, good Lord Almighty, most importantly, it's connected to the thing here, and that's what you want. Oh, pizzle sticks. Frankly, it lets you have many parent bones. You can change them at your will to do your bidding. And why, you may ask, did we not do these for these? Well, when the game engine goes to interpolate between keyframes, it doesn't, when you export these animations, it doesn't export it in similar to an AVI. The engine itself is actually what animates it, and if you're using the SMD format for the Half-Life engine, you've got a bunch of numbers where it's going to tell each bone where to be on each keyframe, and you'll notice some small vibrations in your movement and your animations if you've got link constraints going on all over the place. You know what? Why am I telling you this? You don't care. The point is, use a link constraint, and these don't. What am I going to do next? Well, hey, that's it. Well, for this one. I guess on the next one, I'll go in there and wrap the hands around the gun and all that stuff. Okay, that's it.